Okay, we'll call our meeting to order, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll start as usual with a moment of silence to pray or as you wish, so we may better be able to do the business of the county this evening. Thank you. Now we'll have our land acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge that we're on the ancestral lands of the Mi'kmaq people. I'd like to thank the Mi'kmaq people of today for their ancestors being so welcoming to our ancestors as they landed on the shores here in Pictou County and sharing these beautiful lands with us. We are all treaty people. Okay, now, I need to ask if there's any emergency resolutions this evening. Go ahead, Councillor Boyles.
Yeah, I wondered if we could put on the agenda about the, I've got a few calls on the care that some of the residents, especially Valley View was the one that this one was on it's not good, so I'd like to know if we could put that on to discuss it.
Okay, is there agreement that we add that to the, we need 50% plus one, but is there a general agreement that we add that to as emergency resolution? Okay, so we'll add that after our resolutions. We'll put it on there. I guess it'd be, I think there's one to go in there, be 11.6, and we'll discuss that situation. And our CAO has asked that we put 11.5 after the other resolution, a temporary borrowing resolution for our internet project. So with those two additions, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please? Okay, moved and seconded. Any questions on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Okay, before I move on further, I want to introduce two people that are with us tonight from Department of Municipal Affairs, Ross MacDonald and Elizabeth Kennedy. Welcome. Now we'll move on to the errors, commissions, corrections to the minutes of the April 7th meeting. Are there any errors, omissions, corrections to the April, did I say it was April 7th meeting? One more time, any errors, omissions, corrections to the April 7th minutes? Hearing none, we'll declare those minutes, the official minutes of that meeting, and the same for the in-camera. Any errors, omissions, corrections to those minutes? Errors, omissions, corrections. One more time, errors, omissions, corrections. Hearing none, we will declare those minutes also the official minutes of the official record of those meetings. Now, we have no correspondence this evening, and we have a lot of proclamations. So we will start at the top and work our way down. And the first proclamation, I will read the English part of the proclamation, and we're very fortunate to have Anne Munro with us again, as in past years, and she will read the same proclamation in Gaelic, followed by a signing of a special signing for a certificate we have. Okay, the proclamation, Gaelic Nova Scotia Month. Whereas 2026 marks the 30th anniversary of Gaelic Nova Scotia Month, a time to embrace, honor, and celebrate the language, culture, history, contributions, and achievements of Gaels across the province. Whereas the Gaelic language and culture are integral components of Nova Scotia's identity, and Gaels represent one of the earliest non-Indigenous cultural groups to settle in Mi'kmaq. Whereas new generations of language learners, educators, and cultural champions continue to build upon the legacy of Gaelic Nova Scotia's tradition bearers. And whereas governments are committed to collaborating with Gaelic communities to support the growth of Gaelic Nova Scotia through opportunities for language acquisition, cultural awareness, and community capacity building, ensuring that Gaelic language and culture remain vibrant elements of Nova Scotia's living linguistic and cultural landscape. Therefore, I, Warden Robert Parker, on behalf of the municipality of the County of Pictou, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Gaelic Nova Scotia Month, dated at Nova Scotia, Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 4th day of May 2026, signed by myself, Warden Robert Parker. And now I will call on Anne to read the proclamation in Gaelic.
Seach an Cóirí 2026 Executive Count Blina Ihe do Vías nan Gael. A hana gus mohug a gúscug muhanan coulter actri is Arj Glevelin nan Gael. Har na mor ronyag is na cullet ria a dlú gal onrahug is a gleag. Ayas, Seach Gavel, canon is coulter nan Gael, nan parch buanchuk do gania anya na Alapanuai, as iat na Gael, che ye na buyan cultura no húsanach, nabutraya, a hunig an in cheer na migama, ayas, Seach Gavel, ginulach ura do Luke Unsahi, a canon, agus sign holtero, a cumal ora, as iat the lengthen gutlu, riyelap, shenahian, na halapanuai, ayas, Seach Gavel, and realtas, and gel erlevi a co-uplerhug, like hoyersnach and gaelach, gustach a horse do lesahug nan gael, and an alapanuai, thro hohaman, gus canon, moahug, cultural, agus commas na coyersnachen, a hokel, a geno kinjach, gum they canon, agus culter nan gael, nan parch verstock don lershin canonach, is cultural, a ha bow an alapanuai.
Thank you, Anne. You did a much better job than I would have. Now, I'll join you down there. We'll get a picture taken. Okay, so we'll continue on with the list of proclamations here. May is the month of proclamations. So the second one we have is Lyme Disease Awareness Month. Whereas Lyme disease is a serious illness caused by the bite of a black-legged tick infected with the bacterium Borrelia burgdorferi, and whereas black-legged ticks carrying Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses are now found throughout Nova Scotia, and whereas increased awareness, education, and the practice of preventative measures, including daily tick checks and proper tick removal, can help reduce the risk of contracting tick-borne diseases. Whereas the municipality will be flying the Lyme awareness flag in front of our administration building May the 4th to the 8th, and our MOP sign will be green in honor of the month. Therefore be it resolved that I, Warden Robert Parker, on behalf of the municipality of the County of Pictou, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 4th day of May 2026. We even have a sign, beware of ticks. Especially not just on yourself, but on your pets, because they'll be bringing it into your house. Okay, now, next one is Access Awareness Week. May the 31st. Some of these are for the whole month of May, and some are for a week, and some are for a day. This one is actually mostly in June, but it starts in May. So Access Awareness Week is from May the 31st to June the 6th, 2026. Whereas the week of May the 31st to June the 6th, 2026 is recognized as Access Awareness Week. Whereas Access Awareness Week celebrates achievements made both by and for persons with disabilities in the areas of accessibility, transportation, housing, employment, recreation, education, and communication. Whereas 2026 marks the 40th anniversary of this public awareness initiative in Nova Scotia with the theme, Disability Justice, Stronger Together, First Voice Leading Charge for Collective Action. Whereas Access Awareness Week promotes the inclusion of Nova Scotians with disabilities as full and equal citizens within their communities. Whereas through public awareness, community partnerships, and education, this initiative fosters an environment of equal participation for persons with disabilities within the municipality of the County of Pictou. Whereas the municipality of the County of Pictou will fly the Access Awareness flag in recognition of this week. Therefore be it resolved that I, Warden Robert Parker, do hereby proclaim May the 31st to June the 6th, 2026, as Access Awareness Week in the municipality of the County of Pictou, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 4th day of May, 2026. And we do have, as some of you are on that committee, we have an accessibility committee here now of this council that works with several community volunteers on that committee to cause some good things to happen, to make life a little better for those who are challenged when it comes to accessibility. Now, we're going to move right along to the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia. International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, May the 17th, 2026. Whereas the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms recognizes that no person shall be discriminated against on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. Whereas Canada is a society open to everyone, including lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and other people who identify with sexual diversity and the diversity of gender identities and expressions, LGBTQ+. Whereas despite ongoing efforts toward greater inclusion, homophobia and transphobia continue to exist within society. Whereas May the 17th is recognized internationally as the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, celebrated in many countries and originating from a Quebec-based initiative launched by Fondation Emergence in 2003. Whereas the municipality of the County of Pictou will fly the Pride flag on May the 17th, 2026 in recognition of this day. Therefore be it resolved that the municipality of the County of Pictou hereby proclaims May the 17th, 2026 as the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 4th day of May, 2026, signed by myself. Now, the next one on our list is the Emergency Preparedness Week. Emergency Preparedness Week is May the 3rd to the 9th, so we're in that week now, 2026. Whereas Emergency Preparedness Week is a national awareness initiative supported by Public Safety Canada, working closely with provincial and territorial emergency management organizations, Indigenous organizations, non-governmental organizations, and private sector who support activities at the local level. Whereas the municipality of the County of Pictou recognizes the importance of emergency preparedness and emergency management in Nova Scotia. Whereas this year's theme is Be Prepared, Know Your Risks, and the goal of Emergency Preparedness Week is to increase awareness of individual, family, and community preparedness for the possibility of an emergency. Whereas Emergency Preparedness Week encourages everyone to take simple steps to become better prepared and remain safe when facing a range of emergencies, and to be prepared, know your risks. Whereas the municipality of the County of Pictou will work with the Nova Scotia Department of Emergency Management to promote the safety of our community by hosting its own Emergency Preparedness Day on May the 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the MOPC Administration Building. Therefore be it resolved that I, Warden Robert Parker, on behalf of the municipality of the County of Pictou, do hereby proclaim the week of May the 3rd to the 9th, 2026, to be Emergency Preparedness Week. Encourage all citizens to participate, to attend our own Emergency Preparedness Day, and take steps to prepare for emergencies all year round. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 4th day of May, 2026, signed by myself, Warden Robert Parker. So it is important to remember that tomorrow is our Emergency Preparedness Day for our council here. So tomorrow evening, as I read there, from 6 to 8, we'd like to see as many people out as possible, councillors, public. I think everybody's welcome, right? Yeah. And this week on Thursday, I think I'm going to have my ratepayers meeting, and Emily, help me with the last name, Hodson is going to be there to talk about emergency preparedness and actually hand out a free pack at the end of the night. That's to try and draw people in. Anyway, that's very important because we never know when the next emergency is just around the corner. Now, I think the final one is the VON week, last but certainly not least. So VON week is from May the 17th to the 23rd, 2026. Whereas VON Canada has been providing compassionate home and community care for 129 years, is Canada's longest-serving charitable organization in this sector. Whereas VON's dedicated staff and volunteers deliver essential programs and services that support the health, well-being, and independence of residents throughout Pictou County. Whereas VON Week is an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the commitment, professionalism, and impact of VON's home support workers, nurses, community support staff, and volunteers. Whereas the strength of VON lies in the connections between staff, volunteers, clients, families, community partners, funders, and donors who work together to make lives better. Whereas the municipality will fly the VON flag during this week in honor of the organization's commitment to health care. Therefore, I, Warden Robert Parker, on behalf of the municipality of the County of Pictou, do hereby proclaim May the 17th to May the 23rd, 2026, as VON Week, and encourage residents to join in recognizing and thanking BON for its vital contributions to our community and to our healthcare system. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 4th day of May 2026, signed by myself. So there's a lot of dates there to remember. We'll have a test at the end. But there's a lot of really important organizations and important proclamations here. So I wish the staff good luck in making sure the right flag is up on the right day or the right week. A lot to keep track of, but I do thank each one of those organizations that try and make lives a little better for our citizens, for sure. Okay, now we'll move on with the rest of our agenda. So we have a presentation now. As I said before, we have Ross MacDonald and Elizabeth Kenny from, I think I pronounced that Kennedy before. So it is Kennedy? Okay, I had it right. It's wrong on the paper. Of Nova Scotia Municipal Affairs. And this is in regard to an audit that they did on our tax sale process. So I'll ask Ross and Elizabeth to come forward there and give their presentation.
Great. Am I live now? Yeah. Are we gonna put the presentation up?
Oh, sorry.
So while that's getting set up, thank you so much for welcoming us today. So Elizabeth Kennedy, I'm the Executive Director of Planning and Policy Planning and Sector Relations with Municipal Affairs, and you all know Ross as the Municipal Advisor for Pictou. So we're here today to discuss an audit that was conducted last year on the tax sale processes in Pictou, an assessment of taxes in arrears and the processes and following how you're following the Municipal Government Act. It was a super valuable process, I think, overall. The best part was that we didn't find non-compliances, so that's very positive. But we did find a lot of opportunities to do things better. There was that's a little distracting. So, and from what we hear, you're moving forward with all of those recommendations, which is really positive. We have also learned quite a lot from this process in terms of the challenges being faced by probably other municipalities and ways that our department could to work to make things easier around these the tax sale processes. So definitely things that we've taken away from this as well. So I'll pass it over to Ross to go through what the recommendations were. And I know this isn't necessarily going to be new to you, but just an opportunity to discuss it in a little more detail, and we will have time for that discussion.
Thank you very much. Warden Parker, I should say Kamina Hasham for Gaelic Awareness Month. It's nice to be here, and thank you for giving us the time to go through this. So our agenda is really just to review a bit about the process that we went through. It was a few months ago that the audit took place, and talk about some of the observations and recommendations. And I know you've all seen this, so you probably had a chance to process it and discuss it internally as well. But we just wanted to close the loop and bring it forward, so you'd have a chance to discuss it and hear more about it. So we have some time at the end for Q&As, but if there's something you want to talk about, or if there's a question while we're presenting, feel free to jump in, okay? So I think Liz mentioned about the background of the process. So just to say that it was an independent review of the municipality's practices related to management of tax arrears, tax collections, and tax sale procedures that was conducted by Deloitte. So we contracted them to come in and do to review a period between 2019 and 2024, and their express deliverables for the project included reviewing a review of the property tax accounts currently in arrears, or at least 1 year in arrears, to analyze the process flow of property tax accounts in arrears over the past 5 fiscal years, and review property tax accounts in arrears at the time of ownership transfer. They are also were to assess compliance with legislation and perform trend analysis, compare against best practices, and provide options for improvement. And I think, as Liz mentioned, this was really an opportunity as well for us to get a sense of the tax in arrears process in general. So it was an opportunity for learning all around. I want to provide an overview of the findings, and then we'll go into the individual observations and recommendations as well. So, overview. So the county had not held a tax sale nor taken enforcement actions during the period of the review. So from 2019 to 2024, there had not been a tax sale process. And they observed that the software that was used by the municipality to manage their property taxation is limited and creates cumbersome manual processes. So it created a lot of, when records were required, it required a lot of manipulation of the system to go in and pull reports as necessary or as were requested. There appears to be a lack of understanding around requirements and criteria for tax sales as outlined in the Municipal Government Act sections 134, 1 and 2. And the municipality has no formal framework to monitor the compliance of its tax collection practices with the Municipal Government Act. And while no conflicts of interest were found, there were no procedures in place to address potential conflict of interest with tax sales or property transfers, property tax transfers. So I'll go through each of the observations. I think in general, all the observations were considered to be high risk. So observation 1 is the analysis of the arrears listings as of March 31st and June 30th for the fiscal years 2019 to 24 indicated that on average, the municipality had 1,617 properties that were eligible for tax sale each year, and on average, 754 properties that were required for tax sale each year. The cumulative value of outstanding arrears for properties that were eligible and required increased by approximately 21% and 62% respectively during the scope period. 202 properties that had been at least 3 years in arrears at the beginning of the scope period were classified as required for tax sales, remained in arrears throughout the duration of the scope period. And the municipality had not held a public tax sale since February 2019 to address eligible or required properties, nor had any other observable enforcement actions been taken during that scope period. So the recommendation based on those observations were that the municipality should immediately resume public tax sales in accordance with the Municipal Government Act, focusing on listings required properties with the oldest outstanding arrears. There are also recommended that a recurring schedule for tax arrears should be established to ensure legislative compliance, reduce arrears, and improve the effectiveness of arrears management. So observation number 2 was that the municipality's software to track properties in arrears contained limitations that create manual processes for the staff at the municipality and creates inefficiencies in managing properties in arrears. This includes the software's inability to generate reports on accounts and payment arrangements. So it was not possible to track payment arrangements if they had been made, and reports that identify which properties are eligible or required for tax sale at a given point in time. Arrears reporting that assigns historic owners, the current reporting assigns current owners rather than historic owners to arrears reporting, leading to inaccuracies when assessing a property's historic owners and related arrears values. That's a lot of wordiness, but the recommendation based on that would be that the municipality should prioritize the selection of a software that minimizes manual tracking and automates arrears tracking. And I know that there's some work being undertaken now to research potential softwares, and I would say probably not alone, that there's other areas, other municipalities that also have challenges when it comes to softwares. Also, in evaluating options, the municipality should consider software already in use by other municipalities. So there's an opportunity to partner with other municipalities in this recommendation. And alongside implementation, staff should adopt standard operating procedures to ensure consistent arrears monitoring and reporting. Observation 3 is there appears to be a lack of understanding regarding certain requirements of Section 134 from the Municipal Government Act, particularly the criteria for properties that are eligible and required for tax sales. So clarification is needed. The tax collection policy within the municipality does not outline the specific MGA criteria and does not provide sufficient detail as to the definition of the classification for tax sale eligibility. So that may contribute to inconsistency and ineffectiveness with arrears tracking and management. So the recommendation that the municipality should revise its tax collection policy to explicitly reflect the requirements of Section 134, including clear timelines for classifying properties as eligible or required. And also that the MGA, Section 30 of the MGA to clarify the governance oversight of the tax collection process. The recommendation is also to support consistent classification and interpretation of the MGA. Staff and council should receive targeted training on the legislative framework for tax collection. So if that's something that you feel like we could come back and provide additional training to staff or the council on, that's something we can follow up with as well. Observation 4 is through discussion it was indicated that the municipality currently has no formal framework to monitor the compliance of its tax collection practices against the legislation. So the recommendation is that the municipality should develop and implement a formal and standardized framework to monitor their tax collection compliance with the tax collection policy and the MGA. And the framework should incorporate compliance metrics and benchmarks with delegation to the manager of revenues. And I understand you have a new manager of revenues now. That we understand it is intending to hire, that you were intending to hire, which I think has taken place, or to do a designated group to conduct timely reviews and produce reports of the municipality's alignment with the legislative requirements on a consistent basis. So I think that's in order to stay on side with the requirements of the MGA. Observation 5 is during the scope period, there were 7,523 properties that were sold or transferred within the jurisdiction of the municipality, with an average of 6% classified as eligible and 2% classified as required for tax sale at the time of the title transfer or sale. The municipality's collection policy does not contain procedures to address potential conflict of interest issues in relation to the tax sale of properties in arrears to ensure they remain compliant with Section 144 of the MGA. So there is a potential risk of conflict of interest practices in relation to the sale or transfer of properties in arrears if there are no internal controls in place that align with Section 144. The recommendation would be that municipalities should consider adding controls to mitigate the risk of conflict of interest practices, as well as develop a formalized policy and procedure to ensure compliance with Section 144 of the MGA. This could include periodic reviews of transactions against restricted parties. So, relatively speaking, 5 clear recommendations and observations and recommendations that align with the observations. So I think the design of the report was meant to be straightforward and actionable, so that they were all things within the realms of possibilities for the municipality to target fairly quickly and action quickly to implement. So in terms of next steps, we're seeing, ideally there would be an opportunity for reporting on the recommendations and the progress to date. And I understand a lot has taken place since the report was initially tabled, and probably an opportunity for ongoing monitoring here within the council chambers and to track progress as it unfolds with the tax sale process and with the recommendations. And I also have to mention that early on when it was established that this audit would be taking place, that it would be at the municipality's expense. So just that there will be an invoice that will be sent, and the cost of it was approximately $109,900 for the report. So that is a bill that the municipality will be receiving, and that kind of, generally overspeaking, is an assessment of the recommendations. So we feel like the report was clear and fairly succinct in terms of the observations and recommendations that it made. I wouldn't say as a municipality you're alone in a lot of the recommendations. I think this is something that can inform a lot of municipalities, it's information that we'll use for helping to inform other municipalities and how to, in terms, I think it's an improvement in how to approach best practices around tax sales. And so we're open if you have any questions or points of discussion that you'd like to make.
Okay, I'll open the floor up at this time to councillors that have questions on the report from our municipal affairs people. Any questions this evening? Oh, sorry. Down there. Go ahead, Peter.
Thanks. I just have a couple if you don't mind. The first one, the big one, is who authorizes audit through our council to be done?
It was authorized through from the department, you mean?
No, from us, from here to turn around and okay that kind of money to be spent on an audit.
It wasn't an authorization. It was essentially a departmental directive.
And why?
Well, because I think concerns were raised about the tax sale process. The department approached the municipality looking for clarification on its practices as they were as they existed, and the department felt that the information was insufficient and didn't support the request. So the department took the steps of ordering the audit take place.
So because of that, it costs us over $100,000. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
You never found no compliances, like you said, with it. No, there was. What did you mean by that at the first you were saying?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, there was no conflict of interest, and that's really positive. There were areas where the MGA requires actions, and those were where the observations were showing that there were gaps there and how the MGA was being followed. In the MGA, we don't really have a compliance and enforcement model, so these observations are meant to inform and help you to meet the requirements that are laid out in the Act.
Just have two more quick ones, Mr. Chair. When a property is put up for tax sale, right, but it's been put on the unsightly properties, is it still all right to put it up for tax sale, or how does that work?
I think that's a legal question. I don't think I could answer that right now. I would probably get some guidance on the legislation. I'm not sure how. I'd be hesitant to answer that.
Okay. And the last one is you got recommendations there, right?
Yeah.
Or recommendations, just like me telling you, well, I recommend you turn around and take this way home or that way home. But are these recommendations binding, or they're just recommendations?
I would say they are just recommendations, but they're well-informed recommendations, and coming from a great deal of looked based on the legislative requirements and what would be considered best practices. So take that, I guess, as you like. Is it a direction on how you get there is up to you, I think. But I think the recommendations are clear and probably based on well-informed, and they do involve legislation. So yeah,
They might be clear, but 100-some thousand to get some recommendations that aren't bound and they're not binding. I mean, that's to me, there's something not right here. I mean, if we're paying that kind of money to be audited, then there should be some substantial, things saying, okay,
Yeah.
you have to do this, you have to do that.
Well, I think, council has an opportunity to take it to the next level to ensure that the recommendations are followed and taken into, that they're made, they are pretty explicit in terms of what they're asking. So council has an opportunity to make sure that they're operationalized.
Thanks for.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor MacKeil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. Thank you for your presentation. I just have a few questions, if that's okay, Mr. Warden. I am kind of surprised at the amount as well of that $109,000. That's a lot of taxpayer money to go towards an audit. I might understand half of that or a third of that, but that over $100,000 is an extreme amount, I believe, to conduct an audit within the municipality. As a taxpayer and also as a councillor, I'm kind of shocked at that amount. You had said that there was concern or you received a complaint. Where did that come from?
So I can't say specifically where the complaint came. We receive input on a continuous basis. It's not unusual for issues to be raised with the department to look at. Generally, when issues are brought forward from the department, we make a request to the municipality to provide information based on the issues that might have been raised. Specifically where it came from, I can't say.
Okay. So, but there was concern that something within our municipality, there was a concern within the department, I should say.
Yeah, the department had some initial reasons to look into the history of the tax sales, and when we reached out with the initial request for some information, the information didn't put those concerns to rest at all. It was very difficult to get information and to have anything to say, okay, everything's fine, and so that is why it escalated. The original communication to the municipality actually had quite a larger dollar value on it based on the audits that we've seen in other areas, and we were able to scale that back quite a bit. I think by about a third. I think we had said it could have been up to 300,000, and so we did. Yeah, wow. We did scale this back to about a third based on being able to direct the, original, when you're looking into audits, sometimes you're poring over quite a lot of data, but, in some areas we were able to say this data is, we don't need to go through every record the way we would in an audit, and we could take kind of a scaled back approach to get the meaning out of the information, which was that it's, the system that you had wasn't able to produce consistent reports based on what we needed, and that the there was enough to be able to say, like, we didn't see any conflicts of interest. So we did definitely scale back the approach. So 109,000 does seem like a lot, but it is quite a bit less than we originally projected and communicated to council.
I can add to that as well. I will say that it was a very specialized type of audit as well, and it wasn't. The auditors were based in Ottawa, so they had to make several trips here, and it did call for some specific expertise and some tech expertise as well. So it was a very in-depth audit as well. So I know it seems like a high bill, but we actually we're pleased that we're able to move it down to a lower amount.
Yeah, no, it still seems high to me. So you had mentioned that you mentioned a few times that municipalities were, we struggle with the same issues as other municipalities. Were other municipalities audited at the same time that we were?
No, but they were looked at for best practices. There was a jurisdiction scan in terms of looking at other municipalities and how they handle tax sales in the province, and even, you know, outside in terms of looking at best practices. So, but they weren't specifically audited, but there were comparisons made for sure.
Okay, so we were the only municipality audit. And my last question, would it be possible just to go back a few slides to where we were talking about, you had talked about how many, no, too far, how many properties were sold in the municipality of the county of Pictou, and how many were in arrears? So yes, so because we didn't have a tax sale, and if there is I just want clarification on this. So if there's a property that is for sale, and a municipal councillor chooses to buy that property, but they haven't gone to tax sale, but they're still owing on taxes, maybe a year behind, that's saying there we're not allowed to purchase that? Is that a conflict? Is that what that's saying? Just so I'm clear?
Potentially, yes.
Okay, so if there is a home for sale that is owing on taxes and is behind on taxes, but has not gone to tax sale quite yet, we're not eligible to purchase that property.
Again, that's a legal question, and you should consult, get some legal counsel on that question.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear with what it said there. It says you're. Okay.
So I think the important thing is that with a potential conflict of interest, that you are demonstrating and being transparent about and assessing with the lawyer and disclosing any potential conflicts of interest that you might have with purchasing that property. So it's not a black and white issue, but it's a high risk for conflict of interest in the scenario that you're describing. So it wouldn't be, it's something that should be definitely reviewed.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, and Councilor Dewar.
You're talking about, if those people didn't get a notice that it was going to be up for tax sale, we could buy anything we wanted to. Just because they didn't pay it, there was no track back that there was going to be a letter go to them. How would we know that it was going to be for 10, whatever reason? I'm really disappointed in the whole way it was done. I have no problem with you sending some information that this should have been this way and this should have been that way, and that should have been free for what the money that's being sent to Halifax all the time by the taxpayers. And as far as the 109,000 goes, send it to the people that complained to you. We didn't complain. That's where the bill should be going. And I know you're saying, oh, he's crazy. Well, he's not crazy. If you sent me an invoice for that and I didn't hire you, you wouldn't get paid. In real life. In the make-believe government life, you're always right, okay? I know, because I've been audited and I've different times, and the whole system is no good. It's the wrong way of doing it. You want things done right, you want transparency, send us the letter and say those 5 points that it didn't take an auditor to do. We didn't have to fly somebody in from Ontario to do it. There must be somebody in Halifax could do something, or Kibberton, that could figure that out. I would spend twice that much to keep from paying it, because I don't think it was done right. And I'm sure if I had 100 people here from my area, 99% of them would say the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dewar. And now Councilor Wadden is next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for coming out tonight. Certainly appreciate the presentation. I sit on the audit committee, and I can tell you that we had a really good accountant on our audit committee who did pass away during the 3 years that we were working on this, trying to get caught up. He brought it to our attention, and he kept on our backs to make sure that we proceeded with it. So I'm really glad that the audit didn't show any wrongdoing. It was clearly a lack of knowledge on our part, perhaps, or just a lack of getting the job done that we should have been doing, and that was what the gentleman had tried to tell us for like 3 years, I would say, trying to get us to move on this. One of the biggest issues we had, though, was with legal, and maybe it's because we had so many properties going through the tax sale process, but we had a huge problem with legal and getting the information back once they had to whatever they do, trace the deeds, whatever the work is that they do, that really held us up for quite a bit of time. So hopefully we'll be able to streamline that process as we continue through the process of getting caught up with all the property sales that we're still trying to work on. But just to let you know, I do appreciate the audit. I'm glad it came back the way it came back, and hopefully the recommendations that you have set forward for us will be guiding points for us on the audit committee for sure, to make sure those recommendations are followed. At least that's what I plan to do as long as my term is on the audit committee. I do plan to stick to the recommendations, because I think it's very important, especially with the tax sales. It's a area of our government that we have to stay abreast of and get the work done. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Boyles.
I was just wondering, when this bill comes for this audit, is there a procedure where we can dispute it? And you know, that we don't think it's right, we don't think that we should be paying that kind of money.
There isn't a formal process to dispute it, but I'm certain that the department would be open to feedback and discussion.
So they like discuss with us to see if we can't get her down.
I can't speak for I can't speak for the politicals, but we'll hear you. We will review and decide. So I guess the distinction is that there isn't a formal process. So a letter to the department would probably be the only path.
You're telling me, so I get it right, that if we want to dispute this 109,000, we have to turn around and go back to the department that turned around and did it without us going and telling them to do it, and they would have to make the decision that, okay, we'll lower it, not lower it, or whatever?
So we conducted the review. It was a necessary action based on what we learned from our initial inquiries, and this is, it's an expectation that municipalities are following the Municipal Government Act. It's something that we have to follow up on every time. And so we did do, just for transparency, we did have a competitive process to ensure that we were getting a good rate on this. And like I said, we did lower the costs. And so we've done our best to keep these prices low, or the cost of this study low. But I mean, this was communicated from the beginning that this was the path that we were on.
But yeah.
And if I can just add, I mean, I know one time when we do, because we talked about conflict of interest, and often when we're doing our training on conflict of interest, we say, a person has to self-disclose if they feel that they're in conflict of interest, and the risk is legal action if they don't. So it's, and I think it's similar in this situation. Like, it seems like 109,000 seems like a lot, but you can also look at it as money well spent to make sure that you can be pulled back into compliance with the legislation.
Yeah, but it also could be money spent that you told us you had other cases that you were looking at. That
no, we don't have any specific cases. I would say that other municipalities, when it comes to tax sales, there are challenges in terms of specifically around. I was talked about the technology, the software, and that it requires manual processes. So so when you're looking at software, be mindful, I guess, of what kind of reporting needs to come out of that software.
But I thought when Councillor MacKeil asked you, said that you were looking into some other ones, but they just had to be handled a different way or something, that they didn't need an audit.
No.
Well, I must have picked it up wrong. But anyway, I just don't think it's right that, your department can hit us 109,000 on, like your own say, and then if we turn around, don't think it's right, and turn around and want to dispute it, then we have to go, like, you're more or less judge, jury, and executioner, as they used to say. I mean, this don't hold water to me, and I think it's something that we should be looking into it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll move on to Councillor Dewar.
Thanks. I guess I should have said I was on the audit committee too, and I'm fine with the recommendations going forward, but it's just the bill that I'm not satisfied with at all. And I know that it's like beating a dead horse that doesn't get back up, right? But it's not right. And how many other municipalities of the 55 municipalities in Nova Scotia would get? Now, 1 minute she said the study and you said the audit. So what did we pay for, the audit or the study? The audit. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and go to Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, Warden. So, was there an RFP put out to do this audit, or was it just picked, or did the department just pick the auditors?
Yeah.
Standing auditor. So, I guess it's honest to say that if somebody in Nova Scotia had done it, it would have been cheaper? Possible?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, no.
Why?
Well, I guess when there was like I said, there was a certain expertise. So Deloitte obviously has, they have offices here as well. But when they took this contract, they pulled from specific expertise that they have for that type of auditors, and that were based in Ontario, who were able to come and fulfill the contract.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I can say that they did have a liaison person in locally who was working with them as well. So it wasn't, they did have an auditor who was actually, I think, here in Pictou County, who was helping to help coordinate and navigate the process. But the actual expertise that were able to go and look at the processes were folks who were based in Ottawa.
Okay, so when we get the invoice, it's going to be broken down as to...
Probably not. I think it's I think it's just going to be just a single invoice. It'll be you'll get it. It's being delivered, so you'll see it.
You just 109 pay it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other names here now. I just want to add my 2 cents worth, I guess, and I think we appreciate, as Councillor Wadden said, the information there that will help our audit committee and maybe to get back on track some. What's bothering people in this room is obviously the cost of it, with no solicitation from us, or no contact with us to say, do you want us to hire an auditor? There's an expectation, I think, that Mr. MacDonald, as our municipal advisor, that the Department of Municipal Affairs is going to help us with these things. You know, to look into them, say, look, you're off track here, you need to be doing better here, but not to hire somebody and give us a big bill. I think, you know, we're expecting that advice. We're creatures of the province, as they always say, so we're expecting that advice without a big bill coming with it. So I think that's the difficult here right now of accepting that. So I think we will be in contact with your department. I know we will, because we want to see if there's some way we can negotiate this down, I guess is what I would call it, because as you have pointed to, it's going to help you fellows a lot too with other municipalities. It's going to give you information to help the other municipalities. So therefore, you've gained from this audit as much as we have, and perhaps there's some room there for sharing some of that cost based on that. So I think you can look forward to us, you know, having discussions with you on the 109,000. But other than that, you know, it's good information perhaps that we should have received without a bill. So I think is what I'm feeling around this room. I think it's a pretty strong feeling in that direction. So again, I thank you for coming this evening and sharing that with us, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Council.
Okay, let's move right along to the, we have no business items not requiring action, so under the items requiring action, we have a resolution on tax exemption policy update. Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Warden. Tax exemption and tax reduction policy. Mayor and Commission and Area Recreation and Society Association. Whereas Council of the Municipality of the County of Pictou has adopted a tax exemption and tax reduction policy providing tax exemptions for eligible properties, including the whole of the lands and buildings. And whereas the Mayor Commission and Area Recreation and Society Association recently subdivided its properties into 3 parcels, which now must be individually listed in the policy to remain consistent with its intent. Be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of the County of Pictou approve an amendment to the tax exemption and tax reduction policy 2026-0504 to include the following parcels owned by the Mayor Commission and Area Recreation and Society Association, all located at 1682 Shore Road, Mayor Commish. Account number 111-29307, account number 111-29315, and account number 111-29323. Dated Pictou, Nova Scotia on this 4th day of May, 2026. Moved by myself, Councillor Randy Palmer, and seconded by Councillor W. Wadden.
Okay, so you've heard the reading of the resolution to do with the Mayor Commission area having divided their property into 3 pieces, so we need 3 different exemptions now. That's what this calls for. Moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the resolution? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. And against? Motion carried. Okay, and so next on the list is our tax collection policy. Councillor Wadden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution, updated tax collection policy. Whereas the municipality is authorized under the Municipal Government Act to levy and collect municipal taxes, whereas Council has reviewed the tax collection policy to ensure it remains current, fair, and administratively effective, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of the County of Pictou adopts the tax collection policy number 2026-0505 as presented, replacing all previous versions, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia on this 4th day of May, 2026, signed by myself, Councillor Deborah Wadden, and seconded by Councillor Ron Bailey.
Second.
Okay, so you've heard the reading of the resolution on the tax collection policy with some changes having been made. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that resolution? Councillor Donnie Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. This Schedule A here, I just know there's a couple churches missing from my district. I don't know.
So that's in the previous resolution, is it?
Is that in the previous resolution?
I believe that was the resolution that Councillor Palmer
Oh, okay.
read.
All right, thank you.
But you can bring that up later if there's something missing. Okay, on the one about the tax collection policy with the changes, any questions on that resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Now, we have the resolution to do with our parking lot paving, and Councillor Dewar, you're handling that one.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Resolution, front parking lot resurfacing for 46 Municipal Drive, Pictou. Whereas the municipality of the County of Pictou recently expanded its front parking lot, which includes paving a newly constructed section of the work, and whereas following completion of the new section, municipal staff determined that the condition of the existing front parking lot required full resurfacing to ensure a constant, safe, and durable paved surface throughout. And whereas The completion of the project will improve, tell me what that word is again, Jerry. Particular, access, parking, capacity, accessibility, and overall safety for community safe staff, residents, and visitors to the building. And whereas the work was completed in accordance with the application of municipal policies, engineering requirements, and budget approvals. Be it resolved, the Council of the Municipality of the County of Pictou approves resurfacing of the front parking lot at a cost of $41,000 plus HST in the 2026-2027 fiscal year as part of the parking lot expansion project for the municipality's administration building located at 46 Municipal Drive, Pictou, dated at Pictou, NS on the 4th day of May 2026, signed by myself, Councillor Chester Dewar, and seconded by Councillor Randy Palmer.
So second it?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, the resolution to do with the, our parking lot, finishing it up and making it all one, I guess. Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Now, the destruction of documents, Councillor MacKeil, you're carrying that one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. Resolution, destruction of documents. Whereas the Municipal Council for the Municipality of the County of Pictou has adopted a bylaw which provides for the destruction of any documents or records after they are no longer required for municipal purposes. Whereas the bylaw has been approved by the Minister of Municipal Affairs. Whereas administrative staff has undertaken a process of reviewing obsolete files with a view to seeking the necessary approval to destroy those which are no longer required in accordance with the destruction of documents bylaw. Therefore, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of the County of Pictou authorize the destruction of the documents described in the attached affidavit of the municipal clerk, which indicates that the clerk has personally examined each document of record and confirms there are nothing of value therein. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 4th day of May, 2026, signed by myself, Councillor Darla MacKeil, and seconded by Councillor Boyles.
Okay, been moved and seconded for the resolution on the destruction of documents. Any questions on that resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Now, we have the first, or one added resolution here, which is the temporary borrowing resolution. I'm going to let Mr. Cullen take over here and explain what this is about, and we'll then vote on the resolution.
Yeah, so the temporary borrowing resolution is just a, we have a, I guess, short-term borrowing with the Royal Bank, and that agreement comes up for renewal in May. Our current temporary borrowing resolution expires the 1st of July or the 2nd of July. So there's basically to continue on beyond July, we require the certificate to be renewed by the minister, in essence. So we're good when the renewal comes due with RBC, because we're good till July, but there is some lead time for the department generally to turn them around. So we approved this last year on the 5th of May, and we got the approval back July 2nd, right? So there's a bit of a delay in that. So so there's no terms or anything different. It's the same borrowing facility that we have. It's just to have it documented.
Okay.
It's still in place.
So we have a resolution here then that needs to be, somebody to read it off, so we can vote on that. Councillor MacKeil, since you're the chair of the Finance Committee, do you want to read that, please?
Sure.
You have a copy there?
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Resolution, Municipal Council of Municipality of the County of Pictou Temporary Boring Resolution Renewal in the amount of $31,542,110. Whereas Section 66 of the Municipal Government Act provides that the Council of the Municipality of the County of Pictou, subject to the approval of the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, may borrow to expend funds for a capital purpose as authorized by statute. Whereas the Council of the Municipality of the County of Pictou has adopted a capital budget for its fiscal year as required by Section 65 of the Municipal Government Act and are so authorized to expend funds for a capital purpose as identified in their capital budget. Whereas pursuant to a resolution passed by the Municipal Council on the first day of May 2023, the Council postponed the issue of debentures and with the approval of the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing dated the 6th of July 2023, did borrow from a chartered bank or trust company doing business in Nova Scotia a sum not exceeding $31,542,110 for purposes set out above and for a period not exceeding 12 months. And whereas Council has deemed it expedient that the period of borrowing be further extended, be it therefore resolved that, subject to the approval of the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the authorized period of borrowing in the amount not exceeding $31,542,110 be extended for a further period not exceeding 12 months from the date of the approval of the Minister of Municipal Affairs. Signed by, I guess, do I sign it? No, I don't say anything.
Just move it.
Just move it. I so move.
And we need a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Turner. So you've heard the resolution on the temporary borrowing for our internet project to extend for another 12 months. And it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that resolution? Not seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Thank you for doing that, Councillor MacKeil. And we'll now move on to the emergency resolution brought up by Councillor Boyles to do with the long-term care strike that's taking place and the care perhaps that's resulting, or lack of care that's resulting from that. So I'll let you take over, Councillor Boyles. Oh, you need to get turned on there.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Warden. It's been brought to my attention that this is nothing against the strike or nothing against the government. It's our own Valley View Villa that was talked on, but I imagine it's happening in all the homes. Is that a lady went in there the other day to turn around and visit her grandmother, and her grandmother was saying that she hadn't been bathed in a week. So she went to them, and they were just sitting there, and they turned around and they said, well, here's the stuff. If you want to do it, do it. So she turned around and she bathed her and everything, and she said she was all full of sores and everything. And I mean, you know what it's like if you go any length of time without bathing or anything, I mean. And she said that, it was a week since she was bathed. And when they go to the cafeteria, they turn around, they get to go once per day, that's it. The rest of the time their meals are in their rooms. They're not getting the care that they're paying for and the care they deserve. And I'm just, I'm worried that, us as, sort of owners of Valley View Villa, we lay out on it all. I mean, these people, if somebody was to die or something like that, is it going to come back on us? And let's hope nothing like that ever happens. But it don't seem they're getting the care that they should be getting. And I know that I talked to Councillor Turner, and they're going to have a meeting. He'll likely talk about that. But it's something that has to be done. And I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter to our 3 MLAs and also the Minister of Health and request that somebody go into the Valley View Villa and really the mall. I guess they should be monitored to make sure that the standards are up to snuff and that these people are being looked after, and because I mean it could be one of our loved ones too in there, and I think that's you know, it's the least we can do. So, as I say, I'd like to make a motion that we do that. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a seconder for the motion to send a letter to our MLAs, and is it the Minister of Health or the Minister of Long-Term Care?
Both, I guess, would be
Both,
good,
okay.
yeah.
On just asking for review of the situation.
Someone to go and review it, yes,
Yeah.
to see what's happening.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councilor Donnie Parker. Is there, before I go any further, I see Councilor Turner. Go ahead, Councilor Turner, unless I missed somebody on here.
Thank you, Warden. Just as a legislative matter, the care that's given to the residents in there goes down when there's a strike activity there. Typically, there's 4.1 hours assigned per day, but legislatively, it's gone down to 3.8 hours. I've received, and some of the board members have received a memo from Sarah Fanning, who was the site manager there, regarding the situation at Valley View. And she says, things are going well. Residents' care is being met. We are navigating this with some ups and downs and definitely lots of lessons learned. There is little disruption to medication delivery or care needs. So this may be a one-off, but according to the site manager, who is Sarah, she says that medication and care needs are being met. They have a strike menu, which has more soups, sandwiches, casseroles, etc., and they're using disposable cutlery. So there is a cutback on some of the services. Some of the things like recreation has been impacted. Some of the day trips and things like that has been impacted as well, simply because they're taking their resources and they're putting towards essential care. So we're going to have a meeting on Wednesday. I can bring Councillor Boyle's issue up and tell people on the board that there's a concern, and that and we would like maybe perhaps a regular synopsis of what's happening there as the strike goes on. So we've been assured as board members that the residents' care is being met, so we'll follow up with the management there, and we'll see if we can get some reports back on a regular basis to let people know what's going on. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, and I have Councilor MacKeil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I will say that I don't know a lot about long-term care. I don't have an in-depth knowledge of that. And I do feel for these people that are loved ones that are in our home that are not getting the standard of care that they're accustomed to in our homes. I know that you know, it's been ongoing for quite a few weeks now, and I feel that, you know, I'm sure there's other stories out there too of loved ones not receiving the quality of care that they're accustomed to. But I will say that the government could meet with those striking and those that are asking for a fair wage. And, you know, I think that while sending a letter is I understand that it's a great need right now that we want our loved ones taken care of. I think that what the government needs to do is to meet with these workers, and I think and end the strike so they can go back to business and our loved ones can be taken care of. That at the end of the day is really what's going to solve this problem. The people in those roles as CCAs and such in the kitchens and what really is the heart of our nursing homes, you know, really need to get back in there and to continue to do the job that, you know, most really want and love to do. So I think that what we should be encouraging is to getting all parties at the table and resolving the strike and being done with it and getting back to business as normal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and Donnie Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I know a young lady that works at the Oddfellows home here, and their problem is just trying to get a living wage. They're making like $21 an hour, which used to be a lot of money one time. It's not now. You know, the 25 is a living wage, $25, and they're trying to get a $5 an hour increase right across the board. I stopped and talked to them in front of the Glen Haven one day. There must have been 60 there waving their placards and whatnot. But that was when the strike first got going. But I think like Councillor MacKeil, you need to get to the table here and work out a proper living wage here for these people so they can get back in. I think there's 3,000 of them on strike right across the province. So that's got to take away from the care that all these seniors get, you know. I would think they'd lose quite a bit of care if that many people rode. And they do anything and everything. They do a lot of the hard work for not very much money, in my opinion. But I think the province needs to get back to the table and offer them a better deal, in my opinion. But anyhow, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Boyles.
Well, as I said from the first, this has nothing to do with the strikers, nothing to do with the government in one sense. It's got to do with the care that's being given to these people in the home. I mean, this really, really blows my mind that when every time we land into something like this, we can do something, a lousy letter to turn around and just say, to the right people that this is happening, and we want it turned around and looked into to see if it's not happening, good. But if it is happening, then we get these people looked after. I mean, look at Northwood. How many people died down there in COVID and everything because something was just passed along, let it go, they walked out of the building, left them and everything else? I mean, are we going to learn by anything? I mean, these people are in there and they got sores on them, they turn around, they're not being looked after right. They've got some people in there working, but they're just working to rule. That's it. They're not going to do any extra or anything else. Also, they've been told there's somebody in one of the homes down here, I think we said the Oddfellows, that the person got his grandparents in there, but they work as under the union, and they're told that if they go in there and do any kind of work to help their grandparents or anything, they're out of the union. So I mean, it's a little crazy. I mean, I know what I'd be telling them if it was me. They could have their job, but I'm just saying. For all we're asking is turn around and get some kind of review. Just go in and see, is there something going on? If there is, then let's get her stopped and get something looked after. And if there's nothing going on, then hey, we turn around and at least we turn around and go to sleep and realize that the people that are in there are being looked after, and they don't have to have sores over the body because they're not being washed, or maybe they're not eating right because nobody's going in. A lot of them people that have to have somebody with them to eat. They can't. They never eat if they didn't have somebody with them. So I mean, there's a lot of concerns there, and I think that it should be looked into. But it's to say, at least I can go to sleep tonight knowing that I turned around and took it to you and hoping that people would realize if it could be their parents or their grandparents or somebody in them darn homes that turn around and are getting treated like a second-class citizen out of no fault of their own. They're still paying their top dollar for being there, but they're not getting the service. And to ask for these letters to be written, I think is ludicrous that if we turned it down and don't do it.
Okay, so we have a resolution on the floor, and we've basically been discussing two different issues. One to do with the strike, which people have commented on, but this one is to do with writing a letter to go to our three MLAs in the county and to the Minister of Health and the Minister of Long-Term Care, expressing concern for the care that's being given at the present time because of the strike, and asking for a review of the situation. Okay, that's the resolution that's on the floor. It's been moved and seconded. I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Oh, sorry. I thought I looked there and didn't see one. Okay.
Sorry, just to clarify, is it for all nursing homes or just Valley View?
I think it was for all of the nursing homes, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't think it was just Valley View. The situation he's talking about is in Valley View. But he's just asking for a review to make sure that the care level is where it should be.
I'm not comfortable going into this because it is a legal strike. I don't think a letter to the province is really going to help that. I really don't. I'm with Darrell on this one. I think the onus should be on getting them back to the table. I just don't think we should be weighing in on this strike situation, and this is kind of hearsay. I think Larry has indicated they're going to talk to their executive on Wednesday. I think I'd sooner get a report back from Larry as to what is actually going on, and so for that reason, I can't support the motion. Thank you.
Okay, now I am going to call for the vote. Okay.
You know, as far as going back to the table, I went in today to talk to Brenda Wilson at Danny McGilvery's office about it. And I said, what's happening? And I said, something's got to be done. You got to turn around and tell Houston he's got to do something. She told me they offered them 12% to turn around and already, and they want to go reactive right back to when the contract was over. And a lot of them want to take it, but the union won't take it to them. So is it the government's fault? Do the people know what's going on? Why won't they take it to the table and see if they want it or not? So there's a lot going on that we don't know about. But we do know about that the residents are not being looked after properly. And if we turn around and don't even try, then, well, what do they say? Cleanliness is next to godliness, and I guess not according to some people.
Okay, let's not get carried away. I think, the proposal is to write a letter. It's not going to affect the negotiations at all. It's to write a letter asking for a review just to make sure that the level of care is up to where it should be. And Councillor Turner can also take it to the board or whatever. They can be two separate things. You could have 3, 4 separate things, but this one's about writing the letter to the MLAs, Minister of Health, Minister of Long-Term Care, just to ask for a review to make sure things are where they should be. All those in favor? Aye. Against? 1 nay vote. Okay, motion carried. Now, we will move on to deferred business. Is there any deferred business this evening? Not hearing any. Motions of reconsideration. Okay, let's move on to community announcements. Joe's not here, we're in trouble. Are there any other community announcements this evening? I will say that I received correspondence today just asking us to highlight that now I'm going to forget the name of it. What's the government survey taking place? No, the other one, the one that just, I received mine in the mail today. Census, there's the word. So anyway, they're just wanting us at the council here to urge all of our citizens to make sure that they fill that in, the census, and I guess I take it there's a long form and a short form again. Sometimes I always seem to draw that long straw. Anyway, it is important we fill it in. I know we get too many surveys, everybody wanting us to fill something in, but this one is for our own government for making decisions, and hopefully they use it. It's quite important, I guess, that we fill it in. That's what they were really stressing, and to urge our residents to do such. Okay. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councilor Turner.
It's okay, no problem. In terms of the census, I got mine today. Tried probably a half a dozen times to get online they give you a code to put in to get online to do it. Wouldn't accept the code, so just a heads up in case somebody else says it. Abercrombie Volunteer Fire Department invites you to our Mother's Day pancake breakfast. Pancake sausages, beans, juice, tea and coffee. Takeout available Saturday morning. This Saturday, May 9th, 8 to 11, $10 for adults, $5 for kids, and kids 5 to 12 free for kids under 5. So if you can make it, I'll be doing the cooking, so
Oh, well,
we're
that
not
was
happy
bad-
with
that
it.
was a bad advertising.
So there'll be a complaint box at the,
At the door.
don't ask for a refund.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Councilor Turner. Any other community announcements this evening? Not seeing any. It's a slow month. So I need a motion now to go in camera for an executive meeting. So pretty everybody leaves except the councilors and so. Oh, it's a separate meeting. So I declare this meeting adjourned and the separate meeting will be in camera. Yeah, you gotta get up at 5.